Welcome to another episode of Out of My Comfort Zone. I'm going to name this episode Operation Target Metalheads. Hi, welcome to Garage Geek. So This Is Music challenged me to listen to the album Unseen World by Band-Maid. But before I start talking about that, I want to talk about a little bit about the recording that I gave him. He already made his video. Please take the time to watch that if you can. He did an excellent job reviewing the album. So I gave him the album Trio, which is Dolly Parton, Linda Ronstadt, and Emmylou Harris. And for me, just like Chris Isaak's Baja Sessions, this is one of my Desert Island discs. To me, it's indispensable. Their harmonies just... it's like pure heaven listening to this album. And he is right, some of the lyrics can be cheesy, but for me, it's all about how they sing. As I think one person said it a long time ago, these three could sing the telephone book and I'd be there to listen to the entire thing. Now that's going to lead me into another one of my Desert Island discs, and I'm waiting for the right person to give this challenge to. But another one is Ride the Lightning by Metallica. I was all over this album when it came out. I even saw them in concert for this tour, and it was at a much smaller club. So anyways, I'm straying from the point. Now, the reason I'm mentioning this Desert Island disc is because Metallica, I never really strayed deeper than Metallica, right? After Metallica, their next couple of albums, I kind of veered away from the heavy metal. I never went into thrash. I never went into everything that ensues from that, where the music gets heavier and darker and faster. So again, one of the reasons I'm mentioning that is because whenever I listen to an album or a group like Band-Maid, my frame of reference is, what I've heard before. And so I'm going to say that I hear Metallica all throughout this album, but that's not a bad thing. That's just my frame of reference. When I heard this album, right, it all sounds the same. It's just like for 45 minutes. And so what was important to me was, how was I going to be able to differentiate these songs? And there are 12 songs. And they're all very, very fast and loud for me. So how am I going to distinguish one song from the next so that I can be able to review this album? Now, I know that this band is very important to This Is Music. Not only did he give it to me as being one of his, so I'm going to assume that this is probably one of his favorites, but I recently watched a video where he meticulously went through Band-Maid's most recent release, track by track. And so I know that this group is very important to him. And to be honest, there isn't anything bad that I can say about this album, except for the fact that this album is truly out of my comfort zone. And that's something with me, not with this recording. Another criteria is can this album be catchy so that it will be memorable for me? Now, like I was starting to say, this is Band-Maid's album Unseen World, and it was the fourth full-length album, but the seventh studio album. They had a few EPs. Now, there were a couple videos made for this album, so I'm going to start with the videos because I did watch them. So the first video I watched, I believe, is from Afterlife, the song Afterlife. You're going to hear a snippet or see a snippet of the video. You're going to hear some of the music, and then it's going to go into a and I thought that was really catchy. Another video from this album was Manners. While I was reading about the history of the group, one of the members was working at a maid cafe. In these maid cafes, the waitresses dress up like maids and they serve the people their drinks. And so this one maid goes into I guess it's the maid break room, and she just flips out and starts throwing things around and breaking things. And the funniest thing is there's another maid sitting there on her phone, just kind of like, what is going on with this lady? And then throughout the video, more maids and workers keep entering the maid break room. And by the end of the video, and they all start smashing stuff and throwing things around. And then by the end of the video, they all do a choreographed dance. Okay, so for the song No God, the beginning of it immediately triggered a memory of another group. So we're gonna listen to the very beginning of No God. And now let's hear this snippet from Ace of Spades. Now again, I'm not trying to say that Band-Maid is derivative and blah, blah, blah. I'm just saying that if I can find similarities, it helps me become more interested in that song, I guess, in a way, and it makes it stand out. You know, most of the song doesn't have that beat. It's only in there like 2 or 3 times, the beginning, in the middle, and the end, and the rest of the song is totally different from that. In the song HGK, which I guess refers to a type of Turkish bomb or missile, we're going to hear the end of a guitar solo. If you are the person that loves solos, then take a listen to this. In the song Why, you're going to hear some really impressive vocals. In fact, this was another instance where I have to keep my clips under to 9 seconds and under, and I was afraid the vocal performance was going to go on for more than 9 seconds. That's how impressive this is. Listen to how she holds this note. Now, when we come to the song Chemical Reaction, I finally got what I wanted. This song has a vocal that I can sing along with, and it's immediately followed by a beat that I can remember. Giovanni is another track that has a very familiar opening, but after that, it just thrashes. I mean, when you listen to these women and how they're playing their instruments, it's quite seriously amazing. And the last track on this album, to me, seems like an experiment in speed. Like when I listen to this track, I don't know how they can actually get any faster now. Since I'm not familiar with this type of music, maybe you could point out instances where there are musicians who do way better and way faster than this, but I just can't imagine it. When you focus in on their playing and you actually listen to what they're doing, I just imagine them all falling down with exhaustion by the end of this song. My final reactions. This album is pretty amazing. So it's definitely out of my comfort zone. It's definitely not songs that I would normally like. But when you focus in how they played their instruments and the speed at which they played their instruments and the way they overlaid the vocals on top of those instruments, and to me, this just seems like it's amazing. I don't know how these women could do that. Okay, would I buy this album? Well, first of all, it's got a creepy cover. It takes something that is supposed to be sexy, like a fingernail, you know, a painted fingernail. Those are supposed to be sexy, right? And then it turns it into something weird and creepy. That image is really interesting, and I would love to have that on vinyl to display. I would buy this CD because I think that the more that I listen to this, the more and more that I'm going to appreciate it. So that's another thing that I wanted to say is that if I were a fan of this type of music right from the beginning and I had put on this CD or this recording, I think I would have been immediately enamored with it. But for me, it took a little while because I'm not used to this type of music. And so part of the time that I spent with this recording was just getting used to hearing this new type of sound and trying to absorb it and appreciate it. But by the end of the week, I really did appreciate it. And I think the more time that I spend with this album, the better I will appreciate it and also learn to really like it. So again, I want to thank This Is Music for this challenge, and I want to thank him for graciously accepting the one that I gave him, which was totally out of his comfort zone. And by the way, when you said that I was targeting metalheads, I almost crapped myself laughing. That was probably the funniest thing that I've ever heard, but it's kind of true. And you know what I'm going to say about that is that the metalheads that I even laugh saying that. The metalheads that I've been in contact with have been some of the sweetest and nicest people in this vinyl community. So again, thank you so much for watching, and thank you for the support. Please go over to This Is Music's channel if you haven't already, and check out the paired video that goes with this. And metalheads beware, you have been targeted.